Section 1. Brushing up on basics. Adding and subtracting algebraic terms. Remember algebra? It's all about combining like terms. What are like terms? They have the same variable and the same exponent. For example, 3x and 5x are like terms because they both have the variable x raised to the power of 1, which we don't write. To add or subtract like terms, you simply combine their coefficients. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable, so 3x plus 5x equals 8x. We added the coefficients 3 and 5, but the variable x stayed the same. What about unlike terms? Those are terms with different variables or different exponents. We can't combine 2x and 3y because they have different variables. Similarly, we can't combine 4x and 5x squared because they have different exponents. Here's the key: we can only combine like terms. When we add and subtract algebraic expressions, we are essentially simplifying them by combining any like terms that we can. Section 2. Like radicals and unlike radicals, what's the difference? Now, let's dive into the world of radicals. A radical is just a fancy way of saying square root, cube root, or any other root. The most common radical is the square root, denoted by the symbol. Like terms in algebra have their counterparts in the world of radicals. Like radicals have the same radicand and index. The radicand is the number or expression under the radical symbol. The index tells us which root we're taking. For example, in the expression 9, the radicand is 9 and the index is 2, which is usually not written for square roots. So 2 and 5 2 are like radicals because they both have the same radicand 2 and the same index 2, which is implied. On the other hand, 2 and 3 are unlike radicals because they have different radicands. Similarly, 2 and the cube root of 2 are unlike radicals because they have different indices. Just as we can only combine like terms in algebra, we can only combine like radicals. Combining like radicals is just like combining like terms. We add or subtract their coefficients while keeping the radical part the same. Section 3. Adding and subtracting like radicals. It's like combining like terms. Adding and subtracting like radicals is super easy once you get the hang of it. It's very similar to adding and subtracting like terms in algebra. Let's say we want to add 3 2 and 5 2. Both terms have the same radical part, 2, which means they are like radicals. So we simply add their coefficients just like we did with like terms 3 2 plus 5 2 equals 3 plus 5 2, which equals 8 2. Subtracting like radicals works the same way. If we want to subtract 205 from 75, we subtract the coefficients. 75 minus 205 equals 7 minus 2, 5, which equals 5 5. Remember, we treat the radical like a variable. We don't change it when we add or subtract like radicals. Section 4. Navigating unlike radicals. Can we simplify? We know we can combine like radicals, but what about unlike radicals? Can we simplify expressions with unlike radicals? Sometimes we can. The key is to simplify each radical first, and then see if we end up with any like radicals that we can combine. For example, let's look at the expression square root of 8 plus square root of 18. At first glance, it seems like we can't simplify this expression because square root of 8 and square root of 18 are unlike radicals. But let's simplify each radical first. Square root of 8 equals square root of 4 times 2, which equals 2 square root of 2. Square root of 18 equals square root of 9 times 2, which equals 3 square root of 2. Now we have 2 square root of 2 plus 3 square root of 2. Look at that. We ended up with like radicals that we can combine. 2 square root of 2 plus 3 square root of 2 equals 5 square root of 2. So the simplified form of square root of 8 plus square root of 18 is 5 square root of 2. Remember to always simplify each radical first before deciding whether or not you can combine them. Section 5. Mastering radicals, tips and tricks for success. Working with radicals might seem a bit intimidating at first, but it's really not that complicated once you understand the basic rules. Here are a few tips to help you master adding and subtracting radicals. Know your radicals. Make sure you understand what radicals are, how to identify like and unlike radicals, and how to simplify them. Simplify first. Always simplify each radical in an expression before attempting to add or subtract. You might be surprised how often you end up with like radicals after simplifying. Pay attention to signs. Just like with any algebraic operation, be careful with positive and negative signs when adding and subtracting radicals. Practice makes perfect. The best way to get comfortable with adding and subtracting radicals is to practice, practice, practice. Adding and subtracting radicals is a fundamental skill in algebra. By understanding the concepts of like and unlike radicals and following the steps outlined above, you'll be well on your way to mastering this essential mathematical operation. Good luck, and remember, math doesn't suck,